Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess it's a good morning to you, Mr. Fortney, sir. How are you doing, sir? And as a good warm welcome to everybody else. So good to hear you're feeling better, Rob.
I'm feeling better and moving forward and getting ready to talk about how to find a product today. How about that? That's important.
Well, it is. It's regardless where you are in your business. It's always one of those things that you need to keep on doing. You need to keep on practicing and walking through this process. If you've got 10 products up still, you still need to find that next product. If you're just starting out, this is probably one of the most difficult things that you're going to come across to start with is trying to find that right product. Now, in inverted commas, there is no such thing as the perfect product. What we're going to be talking about today is finding a product that will do two things: reduce your risk and stand you in a good chance of picking the product that's going to do well, as opposed to picking a product just out of random that got absolutely no idea whether that's going to do well or not. So there's method in our madness, and basically it's a decent process we're going to follow. So hopefully you'll be able to learn something from that. I'm going to be driving. Rob's going to be jumping in the background with all of the really good stuff. So without further ado, let's jump in. So basically what we're going to be doing is using two programs. Okay. Excuse me. We're going to be using Amasuite 5, and it's the top product analyzer out of the 5 pieces of software we're going to be focusing on. And we're also going to be using Jungle Scout. Now, I've got Jungle Scout Pro loaded, but you can use Jungle Scout. If you haven't got Jungle Scout, you can actually use free download, which is Unicorn Smasher. Now, it's important to have that side of the software because you need to analyze the data when you're looking at it, and that'll become clear as we move forward throughout the hour. So as I've only got an hour, what I've done is I've preloaded or I've actually pre-downloaded quite a bit of information. But let's jump straight in there now. And it's good to see everybody in the background. If you've got any questions along the way, please drop them into the chat. We will get round to answering all of those, don't worry. So let me pull up Amasuite. So this is the user interface with Amasuite. If you've got Amasuite 4, it's a little bit different, but basically it's the same. There's just a few more features on Amasuite 5, which I'm using here. Now, it's broken down into 3 separate areas, really. We've got what I call the top bar, we've got the left-hand column, and we've got the main data screen, as you can see here. The first place we want to go to is just going to have a look at the icons at the top. We've got the stop-start, basically it closes the software down as we've had enough. We want to exit out. So that's the close out button. We've then got the save button. We're going to have a look at that later. We've got the open file. We're definitely going to be looking at that later. More information. That's just going to give you information with respect to the software. So make sure you've got the latest version loaded. For example, this is your help videos and tutorials and support button. You've then got the Facebook shortcut. This is basically the shortcut to the Amasuite Facebook community. You've got some settings here. You've got a calculator, which takes you straight to the FBA calculator. We need that. And then we've got the start extracting and stop extracting. And again, I shall explain what they are later as we move forward. So the next thing we want to be looking at is which marketplace. When we're talking about marketplace, we're talking about USA Amazon. We're talking about the UK Amazon. So in this case, we've got a drop-down menu here. And for this exercise, we're going to be looking at Amazon.com, which is the United States, the USA marketplace. So we'll select that. And you can see this is now populated with all of the top categories that we could potentially look through. The little drop-down bar on the left-hand side under Amazon.com, it's basically saying which data source are we going to be looking at. So let's have a look at the options there. We can do the best sellers, hot new releases, movers and shakers, most wished for, and most gifted. Now, these are in the front end of Amazon. If you've got a wedding list or something like that, or if you've got your own wish list, you can go on there. You put a wish for or most release hot releases. This is Amazon badged hot releases. But in most cases, we just stick with bestsellers. But by all means, just experiment with some of these other categories in your own time. But for today, we're going to be doing bestsellers. Okay, you've also got a search here that can search for a particular niche or subcategory if you know what that is and you particularly want to look into there. But I'm going to leave that blank for the moment. Now, let me explain what these categories are. These are basically the categories that align themselves on the inside of Amazon. And you can see the little plus next to some of these. So if we click on the plus next to baby, for example, you'll be able to see all of these subcategories. So baby is the top category. Okay. We opened up the plus sign, and that's now got the subcategories under that. So we've got bathing, skincare, bedding, car seats, for example. And each of these has got a plus next to that. So again, we could open that subcategory and drill down another layer. All right. So we got baby, bathing, and skincare. So that's 2 layers down. Okay, and each of these has its own subcategory. So if I click on bathing, tubs, and seats, there's 3 categories down. So we've got baby 1, bathing, skincare 2, and bathing, tubs, and seats is 3. Okay, so we're 3 levels deep inside of the baby category at the moment. Now, if you look down here, we've got skincare. It's got a plus next to it. That means it's got another set of subcategories under that. So this will be the 4th layer if you really want to dig down. So you can see that we're actually really digging down into these subcategories. Okay, and this is where a lot of the sort of the gold is laying. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
So that's one of the big differences that I think right there that separate Amasuite and Jungle Scout as far as the setup of how they search data. And the number one big difference between the two of them, and not taking away from either of them, just pointing out the differences, is that Amasuite is going to pull this information live from Amazon. They're going to go there. They're going to actually search what's on Amazon at that very second. Whereas Jungle Scout has a database that you're actually searching. Now, I don't know how often they can update the whole database, how often they can, I don't have those statistics or know what they're doing, but, they went out and pulled a bunch of information and then put it into a database, and you're literally just searching a database. My issue with that currently right now is I'm searching that and you're searching that, and I'm doing videos about that, and there are thousands and thousands upon thousands of people putting in the same parameters and coming up with the same products. So that's one of the things you have to be very careful with when you're dealing with Jungle Scout. Amasuite, on the other hand, does it just a little differently. But the ability to be able to niche find. I mean, ultimately, if you think about what you've just done, when you've done that, you've come all the way down to the top 100 of, what was it, baby baths? Okay.
Yeah, the top one is baby, then bathing, skincare. They're on skincare below that. So it's 4 deep we're in at the moment.
Right. So how often, there's no other piece of software out there that will allow you to do what that is, which is go in that deep and then search that deep inside of a category. That's how you find a super small niche, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a product ultimately that has less than 150 competitors. I'm not saying that you can't go up to 200. I prefer you be under 100 if you ask me, ideally. So this will allow you to find those places. Well, where are my products at? Well, your products are in these smaller subcategory niches underneath the main category. That's where they're at. That's where they live, because they're small. They're in there and they're hidden under 4 layers. And, but guess what? There's a whole market of people out there, thousands and tens upon thousands of people that are looking for baby bathtubs. And or whatever it might be under 4 categories down. And you can see that. And so you can search specifically. You might be able to notice, when you go down there and then skincare, well, one of the things under skincare may be like actual products. Well, you can just eliminate searching those. The idea is, and the reason for these pieces of software is that you can get through this process a lot quicker. You can move through the process quicker. You can look at more products and evaluate more products quicker. And so there's no reasons to look at products that wouldn't be that. Whereas when you search the filters that you'll see here, we use an Amasuite and you use a Jungle Scout, it just puts them basically over everything. So you pull out this big, and that's one of the issues I have when you use the web app, is that all of this information comes up, but it's just from everywhere. And, so you're looking at clothing. Well, with this, you can kind of eliminate looking at clothing. If you're not into clothing, you can eliminate things. And so you get a much more specific search on your product.
Yeah, very true. So you mentioned bathing. So I'm going to tick bathing. And what I mean, tick bathing, you basically just click the box next to it. So what that does, that means we've ticked that or selected that subcategory, and there's 100 items in that subcategory. Now, let me really share what that actually means. This software pulls out the top 100 from that subcategory. It doesn't mean there's only 100 in there, okay? But basically what that is each of these categories, Amazon puts together a top 100 in each of these.
But it also doesn't mean, Paul, it also doesn't mean sometimes that there are even 100.
Correct.
So either way, it could be more than 100, but it could also mean less than 100.
Yeah. So basically, if you're interested in drilling down and finding out and gathering the data on any of these subcategories, just tick the box, okay, and make sure there's an orange tick mark in that box. So I'm going to, in this case, press sort of bathing tubs and seats. I'm also going to come down, pick a few other categories. Now, for the sake of this training tonight or the call, I'm not going to tick too many because it just takes such a long time to go through there. I'd rather use the data I've already saved and downloaded. And I downloaded a couple of weekends ago something like 32,000 items in another category. But I'll show you how to pull that up as well. So I'm just going to increase this over. So I'm just going to go through. I'm going to open up bedding. So it's in bedding. Swaddling blankets, I'm going to do that. Wearable blankets, that's got a sub. You can see how far down we is. It's like 5 layers deep now. So I'm going to tick all of those. So specific boys wearable blankets. This is how detailed and very specific, laser focused you can actually get. So I just scroll down. I'll put for mums as well. I just pick a couple in here. Maternity pillows, okay. So when I'm doing this, I normally, because it does take such a long time, is a bit of a warning, because I noticed this when I've done all of that really large download, that if you do too many in one go and it takes such a long time, you'll get a pop-up window directly from Amazon asking you to enter a capture word or some letters or whatever combination of, just to make sure you're not a robot downloading a lot of their sort of data. So, if you do select a lot of these boxes, just bear in mind that you would actually get that pop-up, which is perfectly okay. But when I'm doing it, I normally pick about 10 to 20 of these boxes, and in one top category, I'll only work on one top category at the time. So you can see now I'm in baby, and I'm just going to stick into baby. I'm not going to go anywhere else. So if you look down this far left-hand column, I'm still within baby. I'm still within baby until I get down to beauty. Okay, so there's a ton of these sub categories in there. I don't know how many, but there's an awfully big category to jump into. So anyway, assume that I've got about 10 to 20 of these boxes ticked. The next thing to do is just go up to the top here and press the green button to start extracting the data. Once I do that, you'll start to see the progress bar at the top, and this main data table here start to fill up with some of the data. Okay, now this should be fairly quick. I'm not really going to go too much over this, but we'll just start to have a look at some of the filters once this is finished. And you can see this is trundling along quite nicely. We're just over halfway at the moment. But when I'm doing this, I'll definitely do more than what I've just selected for this particular call. Okay. All right, we're done. So that was the quick part. All right, so now it's time to add your initial filters. There's two times we want to be looking at adding filters to this particular piece of software. One is now. Now, if you look across the data, unfortunately, I can't make my screen bigger, guys. So you have to sort of bear with me on that because this is a separate piece of software. It doesn't do the control plus or minus trick for zooming in. But you can see here you got the category, which is fine. We're in bathing tubs and seats. We tic tac, okay. It's got the product type, which is the ASIN number. Okay, it's got the title of the product, and then we've got some areas which are not extracted. Well, obviously we can't filter anything that's not extracted. We can only filter data that we have. So we're going to be looking at sale price because we've got some data there. Ranking, I don't necessarily add a filter that to start with, but some of the reviews, we can add a filter there. And the rest of it is we can't add anything to that because there's no data there to actually filter out. So in order to get the first filter up, down at the bottom right-hand corner, we've got two orange buttons. One is filters, one is clear. Okay, so if we press on the filters button, that'll show us three options. We've got show filters, load filter file, and delete filters. In this case, I'm going to show filters, and that's going to bring up a pop-up box. Now, in this particular box, you've got three columns. You've got column, compare type, and value. We've also got two options at the top here, save and open, which we'll have a look at in a minute. But initially, I'll just drop into the column, and that's going to show us the column headings, bearing in mind that we've only got a few columns that we can actually start to filter. And one of those was the sale price. So let's have a look down for sale price, and we'll select that. Here it is, so sale price, so we'll select that. And then compare. So if you sort of press in there, you've got a drop-down menu. And again, it's not really a drop-down menu, but well, you've got your options there. So I'm going to go greater than. Okay. And the value I'm going to put in here is 17. Now, the reason I put 17 in there is because we recommend 17 simply because anything less than that is, by the time you've purchased the product, shipped the products from the supplier into Amazon, you've then got the Amazon fees itself. There's very little profit to be made after that. Okay, so 17 and above is pretty good. All right, so I'm going to put a 17 in there, but I want to add another one. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here on the left. Let's go add. So again, I'm going to pick sale price. At this time round, I'm going to go less than. So this time around, I'm going to add 50. Now, again, there's reasoning here because anything over 50, your cost of purchasing the inventory could be fairly high. And to start with, we want to mitigate any risk and limit the amount of investment we're putting in. Okay. So I'm just going to put 50. Does that mean it's always going to be 50? No. Sometimes I'll put in 60. I'll experiment up to 100, 150 sometimes. But depending on how much I want to actually invest in the product itself. But generally, I'll work with these parameters of 17 and 50. Okay. So the other thing we can do is look at the reviews because we've got the data for the reviews here. So I'm just going to add another filter. I'm going to find reviews. And this time I'm going to go less than. Now again, this is just a guideline, so I normally put 300. Okay. The greater the number of reviews, it means that the more established that particular product or seller is got themselves within the Amazon platform. They've sold a bunch of products to get those a lot of reviews. Anything less than 300 just means that there's an opportunity for us to get in there and work with that particular product. So now we've got that, we can actually go apply, and that's going to filter out everything that's outside of our parameters that we've just added. Okay, so if we look at here, we've got 600 items in total. So if I go apply, that's going to leave us with 249. So that wasn't too bad. Okay, so I'm just going to close that one down now. And now I've got all of the other products that do not meet our initial criteria filtered out. I can now go ahead and extract all of this data. And to do that, you come down to the bottom here, and on the left-hand side, there's 3 more orange buttons at the bottom. So if I go more data, that's going to give us 3 options. Now, the top one is extract data for all rows. So I'm just going to collect that, and away we go. Now, this is where it does take a little bit of time. Okay, so instead of letting this trundle through for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to load an additional set of files for us to look at. Okay.
And while you're doing that, Paul, while you're doing that, let's talk about this. What type of product you're looking for, and I think that there are a lot of mistakes made on the end of searching for products that are doing really well. And that's what we call the lottery ticket, which is you're looking for a product that, look, it sells 10 a day, blah, 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 blah. Well, 10 a day may sound good, but they might be spending, 7 of those might be pay-per-click, and they might be spending $5 per piece, and they're running a promotion. Ultimately, you're not trying to compete with that guy up front. You're trying to compete with the guy that's got 20 reviews or that's got 5 reviews, and he's on page 3. That's the guy we're trying to find. I often show people, oh, look here, page 1, here's the product in number 6 position. That's my guy. Well, first of all, you're not competing with that guy. You're competing with every guy. The guy that's on page 18, the guy that's on page 1. You're competing with every single person in any category. So don't go and just say, this is my product, this is my person. If it's a keyword search term and your product comes underneath there, every single person that comes up there is your competition. So we want to find somebody you actually can compete with. You can't compete with a guy selling 10 a day to start out. Can you compete with someone selling 1 a day or 1 every other day? Yeah, let's find out if there's that guy out there. If you find that guy, that's who we're looking for. We're looking for the guy that sells 1 or 2 every other day, who that you can immediately, with some good strategy, with doing a launch, you can beat that guy. That's what we want, because that's the first guy you got to overcome, not just the people who are on page 1. Forget those people. They don't matter right now. They're not the people that you're competing with. The people that you're competing with are people selling 1 or 2 every other day, because that's where you got to land first. You got to land there first and beat those people out first. Then you can move into those higher things. So when we're looking for products, what I call our golden nuggets, which are these products out there that will then share us into a category or a set of keywords that then have this, amount of money in there that we can go in and take over. And that's, or we can go in and rank much quicker and much easier. So that's the idea. We're looking for a product that we can compete with now, not that we want to be later. Because being later, I appreciate that, and that's where we want to go. But we're really searching for, is there a product on page 3 that sells 1 a day? And I can sell 1 a day, I want to do that. Or is there a product I compete that sells 2 a day? How do I get to be that guy? That guy's selling 2 a day. He's selling 70 units a month. If he makes $8 a piece on it, now he's making $560 a month. All of a sudden, that's a guy that you can go in and compete with, and that you realistically can compete with. So you can go, okay, this makes sense for me to get into this business, because for me to sell and make $500 to $1,000 profit a month, I can go into that category. I can sell 1 or 2 every other day, and that's how you make money. Now, will you improve? Certainly, but we need to be starting somewhere, and you have to have sales to move up. You cannot get a lower BSR if you don't have sales. So you have to have sales. We get sales from products that are selling 1 or 2 a day, and those are the products that we're actually out there looking for, and that's where the amount of revenue that we'll check on the second end of this will help us do that.
Just find my mute button and we go. Yeah, you're right. So that's where all the gold dust is, which turns into gold chunks at the end of the day. Right, so what I've done is just to speed things up. This is a set of data that I pulled out of outdoors. Now, I split this down because it's a huge category. You normally get sports and outdoors, but in this particular case, I just kept with non-sports orientated things and just kept with the outdoors. And I think there was 35,000 items I downloaded. So what I've automatically done is I've applied that first filter to get rid of everything that's outside of the criteria, and just left myself. Well, actually, I left it a little bit open, a little bit broader. But now it's time to actually apply that second set of filters that I was talking about. So again, we'll come down to filters and we'll show filters. And here we can actually start to apply those filters again. Now there's a shortcut. We can actually save the filters, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. But again, I always start with sales price. And what I'll do is just rattle through these. This will be greater than, and I'll put 17 in. I'll add another filter, sale price again. I'll come down and I should make that less than 50. And again, you can experiment with some of these numbers. These are just our guidelines that we find that work for an initial product. Reviews, which is the other one I had earlier. So I'm going to include that, and I'm going to keep that to less than 300 at this stage. Okay. I'm going to add another filter. And this time around, I'm going to do a BSR, which is the main rank. That's what the category is here. Okay, so we've got the main rank. And here I'm going to do more than and less than as well. So I'm going to have that cap on either side. So I'm going to go a greater than, and I'm going to put in a BSR of 5,000. Okay, and I'm going to add another filter, main rank, again, less than, I'm going to put 15,000. So let me quickly explain roughly what this means. Is that if I don't really want to be competing with a top guy, i.e. the bestseller rank of 1. All right. I want to be looking for not quite as positioned or a seasoned seller or an established sort of product. So therefore the BSR is going to be down a little bit. So that's why I've put anything less than 15. I also don't want to be looking at anything that's greater than 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. You know, some of the BSRs you see is like 1 million plus. You know, it's the basically first started. I'm not interested in anything that's not selling at all. So I'm basically looking for a product that's got demand, but it's not right at the top, right at the front of the race. So that's I've got no chance of actually getting there. So that's why I put 5,000 to 15,000 in there. And again, can that vary? Yes, it can. Of course, it can. But for now, that's what I generally start off with. So I'm going to add one more filter here, and that's the weight. Now, I generally try and look for lower weight products. In this case, I'm going to go less than. Today, I'm going to put in 3. Sometimes I put in 2 because I'm doing outdoor stuff. I'll put in 3. If I was in the baby category, I'll probably put 2. So that's it. They're the set of filters. Now, in order to save time, next time around you do this, what you've got to do is go save. Okay, and that will bring you up to the latest filter, or normally puts it into Amasuite filter as soon as you do this. So I'm just going to call this filter 2. Simple as that. Okay, next time we come round, okay, so you go down to filters, load filter file. Okay, that's exactly what you load in. So we'll do that again in a minute. So now I've got those filters. I'm just going to go apply and done. So because I've already extracted this data, and it took me 20 hours plus to extract this, it's gone from 11,000 items on this list down to 376. Okay, Now, let's start to, you'll see some colors here and all the rest of it. I won't go into that in a moment because I want to show you how to analyze the data. All right. So the next thing I do is come down to controls. And now I've got all of this information here. And I shall open that up in a preview screen now because I'm running Windows 10. It opens up in Edge. So I'm just going to move that over. No, in fact, we'll run down this. So basically what we do now is we'll run down this and we automatically start to apply the products to avoid in my mind as I'm running through this. Now, products to avoid, let me just quickly go over that, is anything breakable, anything electronics, anything liquid, anything hazardous, anything that's too big, anything that's too heavy, anything that's oversized or odd shaped or anything like that, anything that's too complicated to work. In other words, if my grandmother can't put it together, I'm not interested. And replaceable parts for branded products like water filters, air conditioning components and stuff like this. I'll steer clear of all of that. If you haven't got that, or if you don't know what that is, we do have products to avoid file inside the membership area as well as inside the Facebook group. And if you look at that, it's under the files section. Okay, so basically what I do now is just scroll down here and never see if anything that like. So products to avoid this long-handled turf edge cutter. That's on my products to avoid list. It's got to be like 5 foot long. I don't know how long it is, but it's oversized, put it that way. Okay, so I'm just going to go scrolling down until I see something that's potentially like these lawn aerators, potentially. So what I do there is I would, in my case, I'm just going to copy this, copy link, minimize this, open up Chrome. Okay, put the link in there because Jungle Scout or Jungle Scout Pro and the Unicorn Smasher is a Chrome extension, not an Edge extension. So basically, that's why I do this. So this is the actual product, but like Rob said, this is not the product that we want to analyze. We want to analyze every lawn aerator, okay, to see what that's like. So what I'll do then is basically look at the listing and try and find what the keyword is. Now, I think this is a lawn aerator. But sometimes it's not as obvious. You have to look through. Sometimes you have to have a look through the bullet points or the description to actually find the best keyword or the search term. Sometimes you have to test it out several times to get the right one. But in this case, I'm going to try lawn aerator. Okay, just to see what we get. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that in there. I'm going to change that from lawn and garden to all departments. Then I'm going to press the search over here to see what we get. Now, initially, I'm just going to scan through just to make sure I've got the right keyword or the search term. Okay, because what I don't want is some of these mechanical motorized lawn aerators. I want the ones that go on your feet. All right, so I'm just going to scan through, and it looks like we've got a lot of mechanical ones. So I may have the wrong search term here. So lawn aerator shoe, I'm going to try that. That's what I'm actually after. I'm not interested in the push mower style. Now this looks a little bit better. So that's exactly what we've got. So they're all the same products apart from that one in there, which is sponsored. Right, so now I know that I'm on the right keyword or the search term. I'll then press the magic button, which is Jungle Scout. In my case, it's Jungle Scout Pro. And now I can actually zoom in so you can see what's going on. So I apologize beforehand. Okay. So I've made sure that I've got the right keyword and it's pulled up the products that I've got in my mind with respect to what that product looks like. So we know that's correct. I've then pulled up Jungle Scout, in my case, Jungle Scout Pro. And I'm just going to have a look at this first page before I do anything else. The first place I look is the estimated revenue. Okay, so as I scan down here, I'm mentally adding up, nothing too scientific, don't need a calculator for this, but I'm roughly adding up, is there more than $75,000 on this first page? And is there less than, say, 250 or 300,000 on the front page? If it's anything less, it just means there's probably low demand and it's going to be difficult to actually make any money because there's not that much sales. If there's anything more, that means there's a huge amount of demand, potentially a huge amount of competitors, because it's really thick and top loaded on the front page from a revenue point of view. So as you do this, I'm just going to put that in as 15. So I can clearly see, I'm not even going to add that up, but there's not 75,000 on this front page. Okay. The next thing I look at, just to double check, is the amount of reviews. Yeah, because there will be occasions where there may not be 75,000, but it may be a really good opportunity to have a look at. So the next thing I look at is the number of reviews. Now, on here, I'm looking for a lot of reviews, or a lot of sellers with reviews under 100 or quite low. Now, the top 4 have got between 200 and 600, let's say. But everything after that is below 50, apart from this one seller here who's got 120. So, we've got 4 there. And you can have a look at the quick analysis of this. The guy's got, this seller's got 4 reviews, but he's only doing $90 a month. Okay. So that's not too smart. Is that going to be interesting for me to get into? Probably not. No. As I'm moving up, the guy with 120 reviews, he's doing 1,600. Now, the other thing we look at is just to do a quick mental calculation, is divide this estimated revenue by 3. If you do that, that's basically what you could expect to make, because it's going to be a third to actually purchase the product, a third for advertising and Amazon fees and everything like this, and a third profit. Okay, so if you've got something at 3,000, like this particular seller here, so slightly over 3,000, I'm going to call it 3,000 just for the sheer hell of it. So it's potentially I could make $1,000 on this particular product. So that's the quick calculation in your head when you're doing this analysis as you're moving forward. Excuse me. Okay, but when I look at the revenue, for me, it's probably not enough. Okay, the number of reviews is top heavy. Yeah, the top 4 have got a lot of reviews, and everybody else underneath is scratching around for the worms, in this case, being the aerator. The last thing I look at, just to reiterate, is make sure it's worth it, is the selling price. And bearing in mind that we're looking for products over 17 and below 50 as a selling price, it's marginal. There are a few over the 20. There's some here under 20 to 17, 11, 14, 15. To me, this is, I would say it's a product that I would not get into. Okay. It doesn't mean to say that there's a potential opportunity, but it's just, I'm just trying to tell you, some of the criteria that we've put in, some of it meets. Like the reviews is pretty good. It's a little bit top heavy on this 4 here. There's not 75,000 on the first page, and potentially the selling prices there or thereabouts. Okay, but it may go on a short list, but I'm pretty certain I can find a better product. Okay, so that's the quick analysis. Let me see if I can find another product so we can start to look at page 2 and 3.
And one of the things, Paul, one of the things that I think this shows, though, is this is the kind of products we're looking for. This is, you can see, this is unique, and that's that information right there is more valuable than you listen to this whole thing, which is, listen, if there's 20 pages of this stuff selling, why are you starting out having no idea what you've done this before? You've never been down this road. Why are you starting out trying to compete with guys who know how to use pay-per-click? You've never even run a pay-per-click campaign. Do you think that the first time you do this, you're going to watch a video on YouTube and you're going to go apply and start doing pay-per-click? You're going to be great out of the gate. Paul and I spend right now on a product that we manage. We spend, we're up over $250 a day is our willingness to spend every day. So, and that number we're going to keep increasing. So now all of a sudden you're going to compete with a guy who has $500 a day that he's willing to risk to sell his product. See, you don't want to get involved with those guys. Those guys know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while. So don't put yourself into that position out of the gate. You want to put yourself into lawn shoes. You want to put yourself into stuff that you think, oh, I never even thought of that. Or, because hopefully no one else is thinking of it. And that's the idea, is to get yourself into a place where you can sell $18.97, lawn shoes, and then you can make yourself $5 a piece on them, and you can sell 100 of them and make $500 a month, and then grow from there. That's the ultimate objective. And that's why we look at these smaller niches. And that's why I love Amasuite right now.
One of the things that I like, and one of the things I look at, and I don't know, it's a bit of a guide for me. I haven't really got any analytics to back it up. There's this number at the top left-hand corner. If that's at 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000, that means that the search terms returned, well, the results returned on my search term up here, Amazon have thrown that up and found lawn aerator shoe that many times. Okay, so if I'm on 199, I can probably put $10 down on somebody as a bet that there's not going to be that many competitors. So let's go and have a quick look, because that's one of the key criteria that Rob mentioned earlier, which you really, really need to take note of, is try and find a product with not many competitors. Okay, so one of the ways to actually find out the number of competitors is I just scroll down to the bottom here, go to page 2. I think it's about 16 listings per page. So to get to 100, 16 times 6 is 96. So that's close enough for me. So if you don't know the shortcut, I'm just going to go you a shortcut. So if you go to the top URL, you'll be able to see page equals. And I've just highlighted that there at the top, and that's difficult to see. But if you then change that to a 6 and press enter on your keyboard, it'll automatically take you to page 6. And in fact, if you change that number to anything, it will take you to that relevant page. Okay, so now we're on page 6. So we've got 196 listings in front of us or behind us, whichever way you're looking. And I'm going to scroll down, and basically what I'm looking for is anything that's not aerators that you can strap on the bottom of your feet. Or if they are here, I want zero activity. In other words, no reviews. In other words, they're not selling. They've got a listing, but they're not doing anything. So therefore, they're not my direct competition, because as soon as I sell something, get a review, I'm way ahead of these guys already. Okay, so we've got one here that's got 2 reviews. Yes, these guys are exactly the same as what we're looking for, but it's got no activity, 0 reviews, not doing anything at all. Okay, this guy's only got 5 left in stock. How many did he ever start with? I don't know, maybe 10. Who knows? 10 reviews. So there's 2 people on page 2 that is actually selling anything. Okay, down here, you can bet your bottom dollar that this image, all right, well, this particular product here is a standard product. Okay, and what they've done is they've taken the image from the supplier, probably in China, okay, and used the image from the supplier's website and put it straight up here. Okay, look, all they've done is remove the background from this one. This is exactly the same guy. Indentation on his jeans, indentation on his jeans. Unknown seller, maybe direct from China, who knows? Yeah, Ocean White 88, same product basically. So, but they're not selling anything. So, do they worry me? No, they don't. All of these exactly the same look, exactly the same image. Same thing going on now. Selling anything? No. Do they worry me? No. Are they my direct competition? Not really. Guy down here doing 11. It's exactly the same product here. Look, same guy, same jeans. There's a couple of sellers down the bottom here, but they're sponsored. Okay, so basically they're paying to be shown up. All right. So in this particular case, my real competition for sure is less than 100. Because this guy here, is he my competition? Well, he's selling the right product. But as soon as I get a sale and one review in there, oh, I've passed this guy already. Okay, so that's how you basically find out whether you've got enough competition or too much competition. So go to page 6, have a look down. If they're the same products, you've got to make sure that there's no one selling. If there's people selling stuff, you need to make sure it's not the product you're looking at. And hopefully we'll be able to find something like that later on. So let's minimize that and go back to the my edge and the report. So let's have a look down and see what else we can find. Japanese weeding sickle. Oh, I've got no idea what one of those is. I'm not a gardener, as you can tell. But let's have a quick look. So copy link address. Minimize that again. Go over to my Google Chrome. I'm going to pull up that tab, and I'm going to go paste in there to bring up that particular page. Now, is this a Japanese weeding sickle, or is it just a weeding sickle? I'm going to go weeding sickle. Change that to all. I'm now going to have a look to see if we've got the right thing. Yeah. So what they're trying to do there is differentiate themselves between the ordinary and the Japanese. Maybe Japanese steel, where we all know Japanese steel is very good. Maybe that's what they're trying to do there. But have we got the right keyword? Yeah, I think we have. This is it all looks about right, doesn't it? All the same products, a few in there. That's cool. All right, so let's pull up Jungle Scale again and see what we've got. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got our 16 items listed again from the first page. First thing I do is go over to the estimated revenue. Now, this time, let me zoom in again. This time around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort this, okay? Now, in order to sort it, all you've got to do is just press on the top estimated revenue or any of the column headings, and that'll sort that top to bottom, bottom to top, all right, ascending or descending. So I'm just going to press that a couple of times. So I've now got the largest to smallest, descending order, and it's very easy to add these up now. So call that 7, 10, and again, there's not 75,000 on the first page. You can instantly see that. So let's have a look at the number of reviews. And again, I'm just going to sort that. So we've got 400, 3. It's probably half the page has less than 100. The others are not too high. 404 being the top one. Just have a look at the selling price. And again, I'm just going to sort this highest to lowest, just so we've got an indication. Is my $17.99. So again, we've got half the products selling at a reasonable price, and the other half selling below our target. Okay, is this something we want to be getting into? I'm not sure. Again, it's something that I could potentially put on my short list as a maybe, and start to have a look at potential suppliers. But one of the things, if you've got, if you do have the web app, Jungle Scout web app, you can actually add this to your monitor. So if you like the look of something, so if you want to, okay, let's have a look at this product here. It's too long. This one here, okay, so it's doing 4,000 a month, 370 reviews, estimated sales is 201 items a month. If I'm interested in that, I just click the plus button. and that's going to add that to the web app later on. Okay, so what we're doing here is using a number of different pieces of software in order for us to minimize our risk and maximize our potential of finding a reasonable product to actually sell. Okay, so I'm going to press that, and you can now say that's added to the web app tracker. I'm going to have a look at that later. Okay, so but in the meantime, I'm going to close that down. And again, I'm going to do the trick with respect to see how much competition there is. That's the first thing I do. Or the last thing I do before I actually jump out. So, and again, this shortcut does not work unless you're on page at least 2 or more. So I'll always come down to page 2. Then I'll go and do the shortcut trick at the top. Go to page 6. See what the competition is. As I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for 0 sales or unrelated products in order for me to determine, oh, look at that, there's only 2, there's only 3. So we know for sure there's less than 100 competitors because they're not even showing. Okay. So how many competitors are there? So in this case, because there's so little, I'm just going to go backwards by 1. So we're now on page 5. So you just got to do the maths. We're 96 minus 16. We're now at 80 competitors in front of us. And again, looking down here, there's not a lot of activity. A few people selling them, 2 or 3 reviews, but in general, nothing going on. Okay. Page 4, 80 minus 16. You do the maths now. Okay. So basically, as I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for activity. Now, the reason, the way you can look at activity is the number of reviews. So it's got 1 review. Everything else has got 0. It's got 6. There's a couple here, but 5 is a top number. Virtually next to nothing going on here. So again, is this, when I said there's not enough money on the front page, in this particular case, because there's so little competition, that may be okay. 22 reviews. Now we're starting to see a little bit of movement, but still not that many. My only concern here is there enough demand for such a product, and how can I differentiate myself in the market? Because even on page 3, if I do Jungle Scout on page 3, you'll be able to see what the activity is like. And as you can see, there's no one selling anything, as I predicted. $60 less than, no information. Merchant seller, that's why. Less than 100, less than 95, less than 95, less than. No one's selling anything on page 3. Okay. So this sort of indicates there's probably not enough demand for this particular product. Even though there's people got listings up here, people are just not buying it. So there's got to be enough demand that you can actually make it worthwhile making a listing, investing in some product inventory and getting it up. But in this particular case, I just don't think there's enough demand for this particular product, because this is page 2 we're on at the moment. If I'm going to run Jungle Scout now, just to analyze this, we really need some sort of numbers on here to indicate that there's enough demand. And there's probably about $2,000 in total on the second page. Okay. So in this case, for sure, I would not want to get into this product simply because I've seen all of these listings and no one's selling anything. Okay. So you can see now how we're looking at the number of competitors, just the way we're looking at it with respect to what the numbers are. Efren's saying, why don't you just extract on Jungle Scout to see the competitors? Well, yeah, that's one way of doing it, but I like to actually look at the competitors to see who's actually selling and doing stuff. I like to eyeball it. So there's various different ways of doing it, but I'm just showing you the way I do things. So I'm sure that's okay with everybody. So let's have a look at a couple more products before we wrap this up, because I know we've been going on an hour. If anybody's got any questions with respect to what we're doing, with respect to product research, analytical, the way we're doing things, please jump in and put that in now, because we can spend a few minutes going over that.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of go over the top 3 or 4 things that when you're looking for a product, you should be thinking about. Um, and you have done an excellent job today. I think this video will be very, very helpful for a lot of people in the future.
I
So
hope
the
so.
first thing is that we want is we want lower competition. So we want less than 150 competitors. We've kind of shown you a little bit about that. We also have a video how to count competitors, how to figure out how many there are, so you can take a look at that. Then we want to make sure that the income is spread out. So when you pull up and you look at your Jungle Scout, you want to make sure that the income isn't all at the top of the list and everybody, the first 3 or 4 competitors, all make all the money and everybody else has crumbs. And that's a super important thing. We want to see the money start at the top and vary and go all the way down, and people be making money on page 2 is ideally where we want to be. Hey, Paul, in the background, why don't you go ahead and pull up the B trap, which is, oh, you may have something there already. So, um, but then the next thing would be is the number of reviews. We don't want it to be, like that shoe thing he had. I mean, everybody had 3 or 4, 500 reviews. They were making all the money at the top. That's absolutely what we're not looking for. And we're looking for a category that has a bunch of products that have 100, 150, maybe 300, maybe 500, one of them. But everybody else, it needs to kind of, hopefully the reviews aren't that high so that you can go in and break in. It's a product maybe not relying on reviews so heavy. So reviews, competition, income spread, and then the last one is variation. You want to make sure that your products have variation, meaning you get on the page, they change. There are different types of products that people are selling. They're not all the exact same product over and over and over and over again. There has to be some variation. There has to be some different ways it's manufactured, materials, styles, whatever it might be, but your product's got to be able to stand out in there, and you got to figure out what will work or what you could do to add to it. So, when you see a product category, I had somebody the other day looking at tape. Well, they were looking at tape, and we had to figure out how they could do some variations in this tape they were using. It was a specific tape, but anyway, so that's one of those things that you've got to figure out. You've got to figure out how you can make some variation in the product. So if you'll do those 4 things, those 4 things will help you out more than anything. What you working on, Paul?
Yes, I was working on unmuting my microphone again. Yeah, so basically what I've done here is just pulled up the last product. And again, this takes time, guys. To be expected to find a product on the first download. If you do that, give me a shout. But it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. It does take time. It does take. Sometimes it can be very frustrating. We understand that. But nothing's easy in life. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would have like the perfect product to sell. Yeah, it just doesn't work like that. You've got to take time. It can be frustrating, but don't give up. Don't give up. Because you can actually drill down into these subcategories and find these obscure products that some of the things I've come up with, I didn't even know what they were until you actually start to do some research on them. I think burlap we found one time. I didn't even know what burlap was. So it's one of those things that all of a sudden you find a product. Okay, you find a product, you think, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. So it's well worth spending time. If you've got a full-time job, one of the best things to do is when you come home in the evenings, set your Amasuite running. In the morning, save your data. The following evening, come back and analyze it, and just go through that. Just go through that process. In the evening, start it off. In the morning, save your data, and the following evening, just analyze the data again and go through that. By far the easiest little process you can go through.
We failed to mention this, Paul, that, I know we talk about these products, and obviously Paul and I, when we sell these products, we do get a little bit of a kickback on them. But for the trade-off for that, when you purchase these products, we will do a 1-hour walkthrough with them if you purchase from us. Our link, which will be in the description below, If you'll purchase them from our link, then we will do an hour-long one-on-one with you and setting this thing up and walking through the process with you. So that's a great bonus that we try to give for the fact that we get a little bit of money from doing it. So we'll give you our time and trade, which hopefully our time is valuable enough to have somebody actually have their hands on, while you're on a live call and be able to watch it happen.
Now we're talking about Jungle Scout Pro, Jungle Scout web app. We're talking about Amasuite and any other pieces of software that we've used. We're well versed with all of those. And like Rob said, if you purchase through our link, more than happy to jump on a call with an hour and just walk through it just to make sure you're happy. That hour often turns into an hour and a half or 2 hours sometimes. The key thing is you've got to make sure that you're comfortable using the pieces of software. And this is a business. You need tools to run your business, and these are the tools of the trade. So anyway, that's probably about an hour's worth of product search. Today, I found a couple of products that would potentially go on a short list, maybe worthwhile looking at a little bit further. Sometimes I come up with some killer products. Other times, just draw a blank. I'm no different to anybody else, and we're no different to anybody else. We're doing this. We do this all the time. So it does get a little bit easier. The more you do it, the easier it will become. The other thing, guys, is it can be frustrating, but don't get hung up with respect to paralysis by analysis. It's looking for that perfect product. The perfect product doesn't exist. What we've got to try and do is get in that sweet spot with respect to trying to find the product with less than a huge amount of reviews. It sells for the right price. There's not enough competitors. Now, the number one on that list is not too many competitors. You can find a product with less than 100. Brilliant. Make sure the selling price is right. Make sure the reviews is just done up. I think we're all good. Jungle Scout web app. I did mention that. Let me pull that up. I do have that up. Just to show you in the background. Jungle Scout web app. Okay, so this is the web app and this is the product tracker. So if I just refresh that, I did add one to that. And these are just products. Here we go. There's a sickle. So that's now in there. Okay. Now these are products that were just done just randomly and just added through various different training calls that we've had in the past, but you can now see that sickle, and what this allows you to do is have a look at the average price per day over the last 30 days as a rolling average. It tells you what the average over the last 30 days is an average rank. It's telling you units per sold, therefore the estimated revenue, and this is on a daily basis. If you have a look at that on a chart basis, you normally need to let this run for a little while to get some more data in there. But you can see that on a 30, 60-day or 14-day rolling scale with respect to what this product's doing. And ideally, what we're looking for is consistency in sales. Okay, so sometimes I'll find a product and I think, oh, this is brilliant. I'll add it to the tracker just to make sure it's consistent. What I find is it's not consistent because I've found a product that someone's running a promo on that particular day or something like that. So this is always a good thing in the background. I'm not going to be talking about the web app today, but I just wanted to show you that because our friend actually mentioned that in the background. Keeper. Oh no, Camel and Keeper, same thing. I have that pulled up in my actual Amazon listing itself. So I've signed into Keeper. So if I click on this particular product here, as I scroll down, you'll see a little graph just loading now. So this will be Keeper. And what Keeper will do is just provide you with historical data with respect to the sales rank, the price, and everything like that. So let me just zoom in a little bit. So you can now see that the green line here going up, down, up, down, up, down is the sales rank of the BSR. Got the blue down the bottom here is the selling price. We've got the black as the used price, sometimes that from Amazon themselves. And we've got we've got indicators, what I call indicators at the top here with respect to if there's anything happening. Sometimes you'll see it's a lightning deal. This one down here is Amazon actually sold a product there. Maybe there's a return, but sometimes you'll get lightning deals, or there's a new seller coming in from FBM. So it's a merchant fulfilled. Someone's put a listing, this product under the listing and sold it as a merchant. So this is Keeper. I don't normally use Camel. I just use Keeper because I've signed into that, and it's on my listing all the time. And as you can see on the right-hand side, I've also got ASIN inspected details. And again, we can go through that another day, where it's telling me various different pieces of information. Okay, so I hope that answered all of the questions as we were going through. I can't see anything else. That's all good. So if you want to join us down the front, we're going to hang around for the next 5-10 minutes. Let me just pop the link in so you can talk. But when we turn the recording off, we'll still hang around, and you can join us to discuss anything about your business or the Gorillaz. Yeah, more than welcome. Love to be talking to people. So there's the link if you want to come and join us. In the meantime, I hope that helped with respect to how to find product, how to use Amasuite 5 in conjunction with Jungle Scout. So if you do any other, do you have any other questions, you know how to reach us. A lot of you got my direct contact, you've got Rob's direct contact, you've got the Facebook sort of groups. See a lot of activity in there. There's the YouTube channel. You can leave comments on there. We get back to you there. There's a number of different ways to reach out to us. Have you got any parting notes, Rob? Because I think that's all I've got today.
No, I think that was great. I think that's an unbelievably helpful video for anybody who was here and anybody who watches it in the future. That breaks down, I mean, just it's a great breakdown. It just shows you how long we've been doing this, that we're able to say it and able to give it in a succinct and very direct way. And so if you are here, you just take this video, go back and play it and watch it through. I mean, almost every single thing that you need to know about picking a product was went over in the last hour in a very succinct, very compact, to the point way to hear it. So I hope that you have gotten something from this, and thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, Tim. Good night.